If I had a nickel for every time these little guys and the weight of potential human suffering and exposure were made into final projects for honors college courses, I'd have 2 nickels. Not a lot, but strange that it even happened twice in the first place. Pikmin are undeniably one of Nintendo's most popular and iconic IPs to date. They're even making an appearance in the new upcoming Mario movie. You can essentially say they're quintessential mascots of Nintendo. So, you know what that means? Off to App Store hell you go, little ones! Because heaven is apparently not an option here. By the way, that is a real article that was written. Pikmin don't go to heaven, I'm really sorry. As marketable as they are, it was going to be inevitable that Pikmin as a series would breach beyond gaming consoles and into smartphones. Through a little app called Pikmin Bloom, a funny little pedometer that links Pikmin to your everyday life. It's cute in concept, but then you start to think about how something like this can work, especially with the game mechanics. This isn't the first time Nintendo has made a pedometer-adjacent technology and apps, the most obvious ones being the Pokewalker and Street Pass. But it's one of the first to be solely exclusive to your phone, and is free. The app is free as long as you had a phone that could download it and connect to Wi-Fi reliably. There's a bunch of different features crammed into this little thing. There's player profiles, location tracking, player statistics, photo access, in-app purchases, spatial recognition, all the good stuff, you know? So much of Pikmin Bloom's mechanics rely on personal data, and it makes you really wonder how many of it really works and where it goes. This may be also a concern considering User-Centric's reports that about 90% of mobile games fail to comply with privacy regulations. Furthering, with 86% of mobile games available to North America collect data without user consent. So today, let's talk about Pikmin Bloom and how it functions and how access to your data is rewarded in this location-based game. Before we get into it, 2 things. First of all, yes, I'm aware it sounds like I'm in a wind tunnel. Desperate times call for desperate measures, aka I am so depressed that I am not leaving this closet, apparently. And neither my apartment, unless necessary. Finals is so great, you guys. Second thing, I keep forgetting sometimes I have to explain what Pikmin are and stuff like this because, you know, I don't expect people who are really smarter, much more smarter than me, to know what these little guys, these little plant walking things are, you know, because they have lives. The Pikmin series is about exploring an unknown Earth-like planet labeled PNF-44 and controlling a crowd of colorful Pikmin. Plant-animal hybrids that follow their leader loyally and come in all shapes and colors. Each Pikmin has a different attribute. Red Pikmin are immune to fire, yellow Pikmin are immune to electricity, blue Pikmin can breathe underwater, etc. Yada 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 yada. Canonically, how they fit into Pikmin Bloom's lore or whatever, humans cannot see Pikmin with the naked eye. Pikmin Bloom serves as a visualization of Pikmin in our everyday life, and as walking buddies as we too explore what remains of our Earth-like planet. Because if there's anything these guys like more than treasure hunting, it's walking and sometimes getting lost. Like a lot. This gets into why people would even want to download Pikmin Bloom in the first place. For example, people are fans of Pikmin and find them adorable enough to keep them on their phone. It's also a fun way to keep track of your steps, and it's an interactive pedometer. It's also serving as a living catalog of places traveled thanks to the pictured postcards and potential expedition functions. It's also free with very minimal in-app purchases, so there's many reasons to play. Personally, I already have such a giant backlog of games to tackle, and I honestly can't for the life of me pick up a game like this and not stay consistent and on schedule to even complete it at a normal Sick. Yeah, so actually this video is also serving as one giant let's hold Gracie accountable time, because although I will be harking on about data privacy and safety and all that jazz, it'd be unfair to admit that I'm also a part of this problem as to why Pikmin Bloom is still going. Me, and apparently the thousands of others that still open up this game on the daily. I'll admit, I've been playing this game for about 2 years now, and I've mainly played it because it's something so low maintenance compared to traditional video games, and I can easily keep up with gameplay. I also go to a school in a place that encourages walking everywhere, like either you walk or bike here. Driving here kind of sucks. So the pedometer aspect really appealed to me. Other than that, I just really like Pikmin, guys. I mean, for Christ's sake, I was a Pikmin for Halloween. Anyways, there's no doubt Pikmin Bloom is extremely popular and played all across the globe, and I'd even consider this one of Nintendo's most successful mobile game ventures. But let's all remember, Nintendo is not the sole developer here. In order to make games like Pikmin Bloom function, the spatial gameplay aspect of it all needed to be considered when implemented. This is where our good friend Niantic comes in. Niantic is an American software development company and video game developer based in San Francisco and established back in 2010. They focus more on augmented reality and location-based games and was probably one of our first experiences with AR gaming. Because you know what else they developed? Pokemon Go. They also developed Monster Hunter Now and, of course, Pikmin Bloom. A very wide range of genres, if you ask me. Their main focus is the location-based game mechanics, and they often work with companies like Nintendo to implement such mechanics into gameplay. It's interesting to know that they are essentially responsible for most of these games, and they've kind of carved their own niche into the gaming market with these genres. Games that essentially force gamers to go outside. Riveting. But of course, games like this come with their own caveats. And, you know, what's the caveat here? Well, obviously data. Niantic has taken the lead on data management for these games, and they have lengthy terms and privacy sections that were definitely fun to read. I'm just kidding. There's so much. I think a lot of us don't really pay attention to what these terms say because I honestly don't know a single person who'd sift through pages of this stuff. But also, we just want to play the game, right? Also to consider, a lot of gaming is already privy to our personal data if you think about it. If you play an online game that requires regional identification, there's tracking. If you play a game with microtransactions, there's tracking. If you play a game that requires an account creation or a login system, there's tracking. If you play a game with ads on it, there's a lot of tracking there. If you play a game with on a mobile device, there's tracking. It's something that's been seamlessly integrated into all aspects of video games that we kind of just accepted as the norm nowadays. Which is strange, especially considering how mindful some of us might be to things like social media, tracking, and such. We just want to play the game and the product. Is that so much to ask? Niantic is honestly pretty curt and clear about what they need from players in order to make their games function as best as possible. This includes, but is not limited to, GPS, the Wi-Fi points you are accessing the services through, and mobile/cell tower triangulation. They also collect geospatial data and images from your camera and collect sensors during AR experiences for a lot more of the, quote, real-life aspects of this game. There's also account creation to take into consideration. You can sign on with things like your Gmail or your Apple account. Personally, mine is linked to my Nintendo account that I've had for well over a decade now, so there's something to be tracked there, I'm pretty sure. You can actually request your data collection from them by a simple in-game navigation and going to contact support in the help settings or emailing the email you see on screen right now. They'll send you a giant zip file with all of the stuff they have on you. It's actually pretty interesting, and I recommend if any of the apps that you guys play have this option to, just check it out because they literally have logs dating back to when you first logged in. It's kind of insane. From your friends list to your microtransactions to where each postcard was created and collected down to the coordinates where they were collected and created, which is kind of crazy. This is also how I found out that several people unfriended me on Pikmin Bloom. By the way, like, what did I do? Why am I blocked on Pikmin Bloom of all things? I don't know you people. Anyways, a lot of what they track on you is directly linked to some of the core gameplay elements. For example, the daily recap at the end of the day where they tell you how many steps you've taken and ask you what mood you were in the entire day. They also show you some of the photos that you took that day, and by the way, it's completely random in their selection. One time, Pikmin Bloom actually chose to show me the picture of my driver's license and my parents' insurance card, as they were the random pics of the day. Isn't that so much fun to see? But anyways, they also track your location at all times to suggest the places your Pikmin can go and defeat mushrooms in. These spots work and are developed in a similar way Pokestops in Pokemon Go do. Seasoned players are able to make requests via Niantic Wayfarer and request places of interest to become Pokestops, gyms, or in this case, mushroom spots. They are then audited and then put up for public vote to determine whether they are distinguishable enough to be their own spots. And from then on, they become interactable and archivable locations for players to interact with. Going to university, I have plenty around me that qualify as mushroom spots. But when I go back home, there are some that are just in my neighborhood, and that's so weird. Why is my house in the background of that one postcard? That's so strange, Niantic. What the fuck? Speaking of, because of this location-based model, we can assume that Pikmin Bloom's genre falls under as a location-based game, or LBG. LBGs combine physical and digital spaces with interactive virtual elements that players engage with as they move through their physical surroundings. It essentially makes our physical surroundings into a play space. The more you explore the outdoors, the more you're able to do within the confines of the game. This can also fall under gamification and how simple things like walking are gamified for user enjoyment. The more you walk, the faster you're able to bloom more Pikmin and distribute flowers. Every aspect of physical activity is meant to build players towards some sort of reward. LGBs are undeniably hinged on the location tracking and constant recording of where the player has ventured off to. This would normally be kind of blasphemous in a way if any other app had such similar tracking. I disabled my location tracking on Instagram for me because why are you displaying the exact locations I post my stories to? That's just straight up doxing at that point. There's also the case with Snapchat and their Snap Maps, which is, again, insane that middle schoolers were kind of obsessed with it, and today and back in the day, where they're essentially just plotting where you are on the map at all times. So why is this so acceptable in games? Simple. FOMO, or fear of missing out. It has been documented that within LGB spaces, most people participating believe other players exhibit some form of goodwill to some capacity, meaning that between postcard trading and shared mushroom battling, there's no ill intention of sharing information and who's engaging where. If there's even a smidge of hesitation, it can lead to being felt left out and even excluded from community-wide events and features. There's a whole social dynamic to how these games interact, and it kind of feels weird that we've kind of made the system ourselves. It's honestly a very crazy thing to think about, and quite frankly makes sense if you really think about it, especially considering your level is always synonymous with your player profile, and that inherently creates a ranking/leaderboard system in itself. You can also do community walk features where it displays how many steps you've taken, and that in itself is a competition as to how many steps you've taken in this short amount of time. But anyways, in conclusion, the more you play Pikmin Bloom, the more you're incentivized to keep playing and collecting these adorable looking guys in these cute looking hats. I mean, look at these guys. How the hell did you get in there, little guy? That's physically impossible considering you're a rock and you're surrounded by glass. I mean, that in itself proves another point, by the way. We're diluting the fact that Pikmin Bloom essentially tracks us, our location, and activities 24/7 just because the app is cute in concept. If the UI wasn't Pikmin themed or wasn't gamified in any way, it would feel a lot more intrusive to some capacity. But this now begs the question, is this where the future of gaming is going? Nintendo has seemingly realized this already with both Pikmin Bloom and Pokemon Go, but most gaming that ties itself to an online service is tracking you intimately in some way, shape, or form. We don't really think about it a lot because we engage with the medium more with intentions of entertainment versus tools. But video games have been tracking users forever. But other than that, that's basically it for me. Let me know what you think, and do you play Pikmin Bloom? Or have I scared you off from downloading the game entirely, which is entirely fair, and yeah. Again, this served as a form of accountability for me. I can't dunk on the product when I actively use it too. But hopefully this is opening some more doors onto how much games truly do track you, especially through your mobile phone and your devices. Anyways, that's it from me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye! Thank you! Bye bye!